Several months ago, we had Sage Creek students and staff read an excerpt of the William Shakespeare play Twelfth Night and then proceeded to quiz them on what they'd read. It's safe to say results were understandably less than outstanding.
Proud to say, you got every single one of those questions wrong. We are sad to report that you unfortunately got every single question of those wrong.
You got a 0 out of 3. And you got 1 out of 3 correct.
Give it a shot here. All right, we're ready.
Okay. No.
Yeah, say, how did I do?
Well, for the first time ever, we got a 3 out of 3. All answers were correct somehow. So clearly people had no idea what on earth was happening.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. How about we start at the beginning?
Right. William Shakespeare was born in Stratford-upon Avon.
No. Not that beginning. The beginning of the project.
Right. Sorry. It was around August when I was talking to my friend about our favorite subject, theater. I was expounding on my love for the Shakespeare play Twelfth Night, about a shipwrecked woman that disguised herself as a man and become servant to a duke, whom she secretly loves.
A comedy that mixes wacky, cartoonish hijinks with an actually deeply touching message on the nature of love.
My friend casually suggested, not really expecting anything to come of it, that I direct my own production of Twelfth Night.
The next morning, I got a text from Kira inviting me to help co-direct. For some context, Kira and I love doing what we like to call side quests. So whether that be recreating presidential assassinations, turning a Supreme Court case into a boxing match, or going to Old Town and having an old-fashioned cowboy showdown, these side quests became a quintessential part of hanging out.
We knew creating Twelfth Night would be the ultimate side quest, as much time and energy as it would take.
Now, although he is a household name, most people wouldn't consider themselves fans of Shakespeare or his beefy prose.
I mean, how can you? Letting I dare not, quit upon I would, like the poor cat in the adage. What does that even mean?
But we believe Shakespeare is better performed rather than read.
Especially when it's performed the way one would act in real life. I mean, imagine if people from the future performed works from today like this, drawing out every single syllable.
We think that if more people saw Shakespeare performed well, and by people they can easily connect with, they'd have an easier time understanding his works. So we decided the goal of our project was to make Shakespeare understandable, accessible, and entertaining for a wider audience.
By putting on a completely free production of Twelfth Night. We knew this wouldn't be easy. Sage Creek had never had a completely student-directed production before, let alone a complete student-directed Shakespeare production. If we wanted the audience to understand what was happening and have fun, the actors needed to first. And we couldn't do this without first building a tight-knit community.
Now, we won't get into the nitty-gritty of everything we did as directors, but it's more than you think. A lot more than we thought, actually.
The hardest part of our process was casting. While casting, we paid attention to actors we knew to be talented and hardworking, but especially underclassmen who hadn't had a chance to shine in theater before.
See, one of the more unique things about Twelfth Night among most other Shakespeare shows is that it has a very small cast of only 13 individuals.
What's nice about a small cast is that things feel more like a singular entity. In the usual Sage Creek production of around 60 people, it can be an incredible experience working with a diverse group of actors. But with that many people, it can be nearly impossible to become best friends with every single person.
Whereas for a smaller cast of only 13 people, it's much easier for every actor to get to know each other.
What's also unique about Shakespeare is that since it's the job of the actors to translate the intricate prose to the audience, the actors need to understand exactly what was happening at all times. Often actors would work together backstage to run lines or modernize the text with their tone and delivery.
This tight-knitness may seem like it's only beneficial for the actors, but it really shows when you're on stage. See, when actors feel more comfortable with each other, they're more inclined to do things like make bigger and bolder choices, to have better stage chemistry, and to work together coming up with ideas for scenes.
While working with the cast, we also began working on costumes and tech. We asked our friend Piggy Aaron to join the project as our costume designer and seamstress.
Now, initially we were going to have historical costumes, but ultimately we ended up deciding on modern ones. We thought this better aligned with our idea of modernizing Shakespeare for the general audience.
I mean, you would get that a character like Orsino was a closeted mess of a man going through a quarter-life crisis if you saw him looking like a founding father. But when you see him looking like this, you're like, yeah, rehearsing, explaining, promoting, lighting, costuming, and performing, all for the benefit of the audience.
And it wasn't without results. When we quizzed people who had seen 12th Night, the exact same quiz we had before, results seemed to demonstrate a shockingly profound understanding of the text.
Let's take a look.
Well, we are happy to announce that you got a 3 out of 3. All answers were correct. We got a 3 out of 3. All answers were correct. You got a 2 out of 3, which is pretty good. A 3 out of 3.
Perfect score, yeah.
We have a 3 out of 3. We got a 3 out of 3. All answers were correct.
Knowing that 12th Night was a success keeps us excited for the future of this project, as it will be carried on in the form of Shakin with Shakespeare, having yearly free-to-watch performances of Shakespeare plays directed by students. Our next Shakin with Shakespeare play, Hamlet, is already in the works for next year and will be directed by our lead actor in 12th Night, Genevieve Ty.
We kind of like to refer to 12th Night as our 9-month-old baby. But we can't say it was just me and Kira who were responsible for raising this child. It took the works of dozens of individuals, cast and crew alike, to make this idea become reality.
Ultimately, Shakin with Shakespeare proved it takes a tight-knit village to raise a project.
Thank you.